Good morning, guys. Happy Sunday. I know it's a little bit early for us, but I got some stuff to do today. I gotta go hold teeny little babies in my church nursery, so we're gonna do this a little early today. But hop in the comments. Let's talk UFC London. Um, Honestly, I'll just start right off the bat. This was a really solid fight night. I know a lot of people were complaining about it initially, just not having the name value. You had two guys with one UFC fight and two UFC fights in the co-main event. And they put on a good fight. But like, dude, Axel Sola and freaking Mason Jones, insane fight of the night. Like, some huge knockouts. Really loved the Danny Silva Curtis Campbell fight. Like I know there's not a lot of name value here, but overall, I think I give the card maybe like a B plus, B plus.
I think you definitely enjoyed it a little bit more than I did.
Let's hear your letter grade.
I don't know. There was some, like you said, like the featured fight on the prelims, Jones versus Sola. Definitely a very exciting fight. I just didn't think these were the highest level of fights.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, so I'm like, there was some exciting ones. There was some like MVP, some very, very boring ones. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I just feel like I don't know. I wasn't super impressed. There's definitely, like I said, there was definitely some that were more exciting, but I just felt like even the co-main event, I'm like an exciting fight, but I just felt it wasn't very high level.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I guess my B is more off of enjoyment. The reason I don't think I was let down by the MVP fight is because I have always felt this way about MVP. I expect nothing else from him. And to be honest, I'm not really entirely sure why people expect him to be exciting because I think he's really boring and I always have. He has not had a true like knockout moment since like 2019. And so to me, this colostrum comment of the freaking day. Just give us Mason Jones versus Mateusz Rembetsky. Holy crap, yes. Anyway, sorry. But yeah, I just this is what I expect from an MVP fight. So I'm not like let down by it because this is what he does every time.
Yeah, I just mean like as a whole, that added to the card a lot, of that slowed down the night a whole lot. But I'm like, even the other fights, I'm like, I just feel like I don't know, it wasn't the best. I would give it probably a solid C for me, honestly. And I was even debating. I'm like, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. I just fought last week, and I'm not in the headspace to watch fights. Where I'm like, I didn't want to. Like, I was watching them as a student, trying to pay attention, but I'm like, I don't want anything to do with fights right now. So I'm like, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt there. But yeah, I just didn't think it was the highest level of fight card. So I was shocked at the co-main event that they would give those two that opportunity.
Well, but looking back, aren't you glad they didn't give it to MVP?
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
People were like, oh, MVP should be the co-main event, and I was like, no, just no.
No, no, I just wasn't 100. There was some fights that definitely stood out. I thought Nathaniel Wood versus Kieto was a very very technical fight, just back and forth the whole time. Super fun to watch. And then obviously we had like the ones that were just absolute brawls from start to finish that are exciting, but like Mason Jones just ran in with his chin up relentlessly for 3 rounds. I'm like, dude's fearless and doesn't care about getting hit, but I'm like, he was taking some shots too.
No, the prelims for me were really fun, and I think that's why I maybe rated this card higher in my mind than I should, maybe than I should have. But I was really impressed with a lot of the fighters, a lot of the newcomers, to be honest with you. Nathaniel Wood, I liked that fight a lot. I actually did score the fight for Keita personally.
Me
Um,
too.
but it was super close. I'm not like really upset with the decision. Um, I was so impressed with Felipe Franco, who was way smaller than Mario Pinto. Mario Pinto is like the guy that everybody loves at heavyweight right now. He's so dangerous. He's so well rounded. He's so athletic. And I thought Franco fought him so freaking well as the much, much smaller guy coming up from 205. Like, I was just so impressed with his explosiveness, his pressure. And I really do believe if he had had another 25 pounds on his frame, I think he would have won that fight.
No, and it's that the only time I'll ever agree with that is at heavyweight because there's such a huge discrepancy. And I'm like, I know guys who cut weight to heavyweight, and then some guys that could probably be 05ers, they're like closer to 235. I'm like, you could be anywhere from like probably 290, close to 300 to 235 in that division. I'm like, there's just such a big difference when it comes to heavyweights.
Well, and you saw it. Franco probably weighed in at whatever he walks around at, which was, I think he weighed in at like 226 or something.
Mhm.
So it's like, he's not cutting like that. That's his heaviest he can be. And Pinto is a massive heavyweight, and he's super athletic. He can wrestle, like, but I thought Franco fought him really well. I'm really excited to see him at 205. I like him a lot. I like Keita a lot. I know he had like, he was supposed to fight Pitbull a while back, missed weight. It was like a big deal. But I like him too. Man, there's a lot of really good featherweights right now. I feel like this was a very featherweight heavy card. And it's been 7 minutes and we haven't talked about the main event, but we have to acknowledge Fight Bananas. Hang on one second. I was going to put a picture up, but I just realized I don't have it yet. So never mind. We'll just talk about it. I was going to stick the rankings up here and be like, woo, but Fight Bananas comment, top 5 for Savage. Gillian is officially 5th in the world, guys. Let's freaking go. How does it feel to be officially in the top 5?
It's definitely pretty cool. I don't know. It's like, it's weird because we talked about it on Fight Bananas earlier. I'm not necessarily happy with my performance. So I'm like, it's like, I feel like weird for being sad right now. I'm like, I should be happy. I just won. I'm top 5 in the world. But I'm just like, I feel like, I don't know, all week long, I've just been kind of like, oh, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I performed like that. I can't, like, there's a lot of moments where I'm just like, I still haven't watched the fight, honestly. I'm like, I still need to get over that hump. I'm like, it's just like painful to me right now where I'm like, I don't want to watch it because I'm just not proud of it. But it's like, I'm definitely thankful that I am at top 5 in the world. I'm definitely thankful that I am next in line for that title shot. And I just got to be ready for the next moment.
Yeah. As someone who's been where you've been, not top 5, obviously, but not wanting to watch my fight back, it's never as bad as you think it is. But also, you saw your fight, and it's not as bad as you think it is. So definitely just, you got to get over that hump. I think you'll feel better because, you got it done. And I think watching it, like, I thought Lemos fought well, and so, like, I think that when you see that she fought well, it probably also will make you feel better. But
I guess the thoughts that are already going through my head that, like, from what I remember, obviously you don't remember 100% what happened. You remember like bits and pieces because there's so much adrenaline and things like that. So I'm like, from what I remember is a lot, the internet's a very mean place. And a lot of people on the internet are kind of like backing up my feelings of what I feel of it.
yeah.
So I'm like already hearing that on the internet that people like, I think it was a boring fight. People are saying that, and I'm like, that's the stuff that I'm like, all right, well, everybody else already agrees. I'm probably right, but I'm like, I definitely need to go back and watch it. And like I said, it's sometimes we have our moments. For me, I honestly hate it about myself because I need to try to figure it out. but I swear it's something to do with the apex. I don't perform when I fight at the apex. I'm like, I think there's something to me that like I said, it's something I need to figure out. To be the best fighter in the world, you have to be able to fight anywhere in the world, and the apex, unfortunately, is in this world. So I have to figure out whatever that mental block is for me in the apex, but I feel like I just don't perform the same when I fight in the apex.
Yeah. It's definitely a different vibe. And I know some fighters like it. Some fighters hate it. Like, I understand that. And like, I think you always hit the nail on the head. Like, you have to be able to do it anywhere. But I agree with Colostrum here. Like, Colostrum said, Gillian, your performance was good. You outclassed a girl that's been at the top of the division for a while. And yeah, you can't beat yourself up over that. Like, I think you hold yourself to a very high standard, which is a great thing to do. But not every performance can be I elbowed this girl in the face 4,700 times.
Oh, but they should be.
Should be like that. Surgical and precise. I'm always so impressed with your grappling on top. Grant was too. Like,
I will say that you said it earlier. I do think that Amanda fought one of her better fights than I feel like her last 2 fights, she looked more ready to retire. Where this one, she came back with a little bit of spunk.
No, I agree. I think it probably being in the position she's been in, probably lit a little bit of a fire under her,
Mm-hmm.
So, and it happens, but you still look great. Anyway, moving on. I feel like this kind of falls under that, where I think Lemos did a good job of mitigating your game in rounds 2 and 3, where it's she wasn't necessarily trying to win anymore, but she wanted to not get finished, This is how I felt about I can't imagine being more frustrated than Sam Patterson, because MVP just didn't fight. MVP probably fought for a total of 45 seconds of that entire 15 minutes. I understand, yes, you have to be able to fight guys, but I feel like there should have been some warnings from the ref, hey, you're stalling. I can't imagine being more frustrated than Sam Patterson was last night.
I'm that's one of the fights where I've seen already all over social media. People are comparing it to being one of the worst fights that's ever happened. So I want to say the significant strikes were both under 30. I think MVP had 24 and Sam Patterson, I think, had 12 or 13.
They were really gracious with those numbers.
Yeah. But I mean, over 15 minutes to land 15 strikes, 1 strike a minute. I'm there's nothing happening during that fight. So I'm yeah, it was a rough one to watch.
No, I agree. Yeah, let's get into the main event. We've talked enough about MVP and Sam Patterson, but man, this fight, it was a very high level fight. I thought both guys looked really prepared. I was a little bit confused with Movsar's decision to wait to start wrestling. You could even hear it in the corner. Mike Brown's hey, let's get a takedown. And I'm pretty sure Movsar was one more round. I'm not going to wrestle yet. And I was that's why. Because I didn't see, and I'm not sure what the thought process was. I know he's dealt with some injuries over the past year. Maybe there was some issues there. He's trained with Lerone before. So maybe there's something he can see that we can't see. I know the guys that have really twitchy knees like Lerone, they make maybe it makes you a little nervous to shoot on them. So maybe he just hadn't figured out the range yet. But I don't know, especially in round 2, I feel I saw him get Murphy kind of flat against the cage where the shot was perfect and he just didn't shoot. And maybe Movsar felt he had to strike more because Dana says he's boring. I don't know what the thought process was behind it, but I think there was a really heavy risk of him giving away those first 2 rounds because of the way he fought those first rounds. And it didn't even sound like that was Mike Brown's game plan from what we were listening to in the corner. So it sounded like that was Movsar's game plan. Obviously, we don't know what he was thinking and why he decided to fight the fight that way. But I definitely don't think he would have gotten tired. In round 5, he looked like he could have fought with that pace for the entire 25 minutes. And Movsar's never had an issue with getting tired. But first 5 round fight, I can see like maybe that was at the back of his mind. But when he did put the pace on Lerone, like it was like a switch had flipped, and Murphy had nothing for him. And then when he would like press him up to the cage, maybe they'd be in a grappling exchange, and then Lerone would like free himself, and there was like, I feel like there were these spaces for reshots, which is what we normally see Movsar do, and he would just give him the space back and like back up. So I'm not, maybe he just really wanted to strike more. And his striking did look good. Like it looked powerful. He had some really nice like combos in 4 and 5. It was just kind of it was a strange fight to me, if that makes sense. Like it was a good fight, but it was just a little odd seeing Movsar like that. Your thoughts overall?
I don't know. He, like, whenever he took the mic after, his first comment was like something about like, see, I said I could outstrike him. Oh, I'm just joking. But I'm like, maybe it was kind of, I don't know, a point he was trying to prove that he can strike with the best guys. And I don't, it feels like he proved that point, obviously, with the win. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily know my only other, I guess, like, thought of maybe why he wasn't like, I don't know, he wasn't even attempting, but Lerone was kind of playing the same game Amanda Lemos was, of staying on his back foot a lot. He was kind of just like keeping his jab out there, not really like aggressively striking in those first rounds. And I feel like when somebody is staying on their back foot, it definitely makes it harder to find the shot. So I'm like, maybe it was some aspect of that, but I really think it, like, just because of that comment he made in the post fight, I think it was more of like a like an ego aspect of like, no, I'm going to prove that I'm a better striker, or that maybe it is because of Dana. I want to prove that I am exciting or whatever it is. But, and maybe like I felt it in my fight too. I'm like, when somebody is striking on their back foot, I'm like, it doesn't really hurt. You know, they're not really putting power into those shots. So maybe Movsar saw that like, okay, I'm not really getting hurt by these strikes, and I'm walking forward and I continue to strike. Maybe he saw himself as winning those rounds because of those actions, like in the moment. So, yeah, I don't know, but I think it was more of like an ego proving a point thing than it was like an inability to wrestle.
Right, because like you said, he didn't even attempt a shot in the entire first 2 rounds. We were both grinning. I was like, what is happening here? Who is this guy? And then it just, to me, it just made the rounds so much closer than they needed to be. And I think we saw that in rounds 4 and 5 when he was utilizing all of his tools. Man, like like somebody in the comments earlier said he was just drowned him in 4 and 5, and he did. Like it just, like I said, it was like a 180 compared to how the first part of the fight went. And to me, I think because the first 2 rounds were so close, I thought a scorecard for a draw and the scorecard for Movsar could have both been correct, which is like a little close for comfort, you know, to leave it that razor thin, which obviously he was confident. So, and it worked out for him. But I was a little worried that the draw was going to be the case. And I was like, imagine if we still don't get a title contender because this fight ends in a draw.
Then we get Diego Lopez and Volkanovski 3.
There's this video that's going around, and he's this MMA content creator. He's so funny. I can't remember his handle, but on TikTok and Instagram. But he was like, how the fight's gonna go on Saturday, and it was like, and you're 49-46, your winner by unanimous decision, Diego Lopez. That was just the funniest video ever. Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't even be shocked. But I think we're finally going to see Movsar and Volk fight. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know how that fight's going to go. I think Movsar has all the skills to beat Volk, but Volk is such a tactician, and he's so good at stealing rounds with like moments. And his in-fight adjustments, like I think Movsar has to push a pace the entire 25 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see Movsar winning that one. I see it being not an easy fight for Volk, but a good fight for Volk, you know?
Matchup-wise.
Yeah. I feel like he would be able to, I guess, shut down a lot of what Movsar has, and just on the feet, I think there's just too big of a discrepancy there.
I'm very interested to see it. And I'm interested to see how Movsar would fight Volkanovski, because he didn't fight Lerone how I expected him to. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a fight I want to see. We've all been wanting to see it. Like we know what happens. I love Diego Lopez. I'm a huge fan, but we know what happens in that fight. You know, it's time for something new.
Yeah, and just poor Movsar going on what, like an 9-fight win streak now at this point.
20 if you count outside the UFC.
Yeah, well, I mean, just in the UFC, I'm like, has been undefeated and still just been overlooked, and we need to put Diego Lopez back in there.
Let's see. We Fight All Night TV says, "Good morning, ladies." Good morning. He said, if he decides to use his wrestling, I think he dominates anyone at 145. It very well could be the case.
If didn't use it last night.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I want to see it though. I'm happy that fight is happening now, and that this fight did not end in a draw. That would be so upsetting for everybody. But We Fight says if. Yeah, but overall, I was impressed with both guys. I did the way I scored the fight. I was being, I always do this when people I know and teammates are fighting. I feel like I tend to be biased the other way on the scorecards because I'm worried. So I think in the moment I scored 1 and 2 for Lerone. And then I thought Movsar stole the round at the end of the third when he hurt Lerone pretty bad and had him kind of on the cage. He stole that round, and then I gave him 4 and 5, obviously. And then with the point deduction in my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a freaking draw. So, and it looks like 2 judges. So one judge obviously had the draw, scored it the same way I did. And then 2 judges had Movsar winning the first round, which I have not gone back to watch that round yet, which it was very close. But I was worried. I think because he wasn't wrestling in my mind, I was like, well, he must be losing because he stopped wrestling.
To be fair, that's how I feel during a fight. I'm like, if I'm in the fight and I don't get a takedown, I'm like, oh, I lost that round instantly. It's like, so I get that aspect of just being like a grappler versus striker. If they're not on the floor, then it's like, oh no,
it's terrible. Yeah, I don't know why we do that, but we also expect him. I think we expect a lot from Movsar too. Like we put him on a pretty high pedestal because, like, I think we used to do this with Khabib. Like, you remember when Khabib, like, got hit one time by Conor McGregor and everybody's like, oh my God. Or no, not Michael Johnson too. Michael Johnson hit Khabib like twice and everybody was like, oh my gosh, he's garbage. It's like, he still annihilated him.
Yeah, I'm like, to be fair, I'm like, Khabib just had a chin on him. I'm like, dude didn't have any defense, but he would walk through those shots to get his takedowns.
True that. And he got you down, man. You're in for a I don't know what, I just remember, like, I don't know why he had to pick Edson to prove a point, because Edson's like the nicest guy ever, but I was like, that fight hurt me to watch. I was like, that's just mean. It's just mean. Here's a good comment from John. Who do you think Evo should fight next? I just want to see him fight for more than 26 seconds. Like, dude's a monster. I honestly don't know, because he's still very new. Who's like outside the rankings at 205 right now?
Well, I'm like, Austin Lane isn't the best opponent to... he was able to showcase himself, but maybe somebody who's a little bit isn't on a 5-fight losing streak. You know,
he doesn't clearly have an issue with his chin.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Let me see. Oh, Warsaw, Poland. That's where my grandpa's from. Okay. I mean, Ebo is a good win as well. Ebo Aslan is a solid win, but once again, like, another new guy, so it's like, hey, what's his name? Franco. Give him Franco. Have them fight each other. He seems like a freaking athlete. I like that guy. Felipe, that's his first name. Felipe Franco. Franco? Is it Franco or Franco? I feel like it should be Franco because he's Brazilian, but maybe
Yeah,
it's
that sounds right.
right.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I was saying Franco, and I was like, this doesn't sound Brazilian enough to me. I also really like Pericic. Brando, the heavyweight.
Oh yeah.
He's a freaking problem.
Both of the on that fight, I'm like, my notes for it was literally just like chaos from start to finish. Like it was like 30 seconds or like a little bit long. I want to say it was like a 2-minute long fight, but absolutely nonstop from both sides, just absolute chaos.
Well, and I feel like Louis Sutherland is chaos. Like they introduce him as a brawler, and that's accurate. Like he's decently for like kind of a fat guy. Like he's actually decently athletic, but not to the level that Brando is. Like you can see the technique difference between the two of them.
But it's honestly absolutely it's kind of incredible how far you can get just being a brawler at heavyweight.
Especially an athletic brawler.
I
Like,
mean, like, and even like the fact that like somebody like Derek Lewis, I'm like, been able to do so well at heavyweight. I'm like, it's just incredible that I'm like, don't really have any technique, just kind of have that. All right, I'm gonna go in there and give it my all, and that's what we saw from both of them.
I want to give Brando more credit than that. I actually see him as quite technical. Like he can grapple. I feel like he kicks well. Like I think he's got a little more technique than that.
Yeah, might have just been drawn into the bar fight last night.
No, that's fair. I think it's hard to fight a guy like Sutherland in a really
and stay technical.
You know? But I like Brando. I think he'll do well. Obviously, he's only 6-1 at this point, or 7-1 now. Yeah, he doesn't have a ton of experience, but hey, at heavyweight, that's a lot of fights. So that's like top 15. So I'm interested to see how he does. I like him, Petrino, Josh Hokett. There's a lot. He's fighting soon, isn't he?
Like he lost to Petrino, but I'm still Team Asplund over here. I love him.
Very likable. I'm interested to see what his ceiling is, but I am a fan. He's a likable guy. I agree. But yeah, there's some fun stuff going on at heavyweight. I really like this girl. I don't know how you feel about Chanel Dyer. I've liked her since Contender Series. She actually lost on Contender Series, but she lost one of the most technical women's fights I've ever seen on Contender Series to a girl that I think is going to do really, really well at 115. So I've been a fan of her. I thought she did really well. She fought really nicely, big finish. What your thoughts were?
Who'd she fight on Contender Series? Now that you say that.
Her name. Hang on, let me get it for you. It was such a good fight. Like they signed both of them.
I'm like, I definitely watched it, but you just saying that you think that girl's gonna do good. I'm like,
no, she's good. Carol Foro. She was like shorter. Oh, that's not good.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, she's had 2 fights scheduled already.
Canceled.
So she was scheduled to fight this weekend, and her opponent pulled out, and then they replaced her opponent, and then she pulled out. So not always the best start, dang it. But I think she's very good. I do.
Yeah, Chanel Dyer, I think she is very technical overall. I think that I don't know, she looked good. She had clean striking, clean kickboxing, was landing like some nice head kicks, and was able to get the TKO. First fight in the UFC, and she was able to stay composed. She looked good out there.
Yeah, I was impressed. Who else did we know? I feel like I've been jumping all over the card today. I told Gillian before we got on the show, I was like, I'm going to keep us so organized today. No, we're way past that. About Brown versus Holland. There's actually some really good fights coming up, and I wish we could address them all. That might have to be G and Tabe on Tuesday. Can
I just say about, since we're jumping all around, the next one that I'm like, Deletes, I didn't realize how bad of a wrestler he was.
So bad.
I don't know. I was like, I know that he has a lot of finishes on the ground and his jiu-jitsu always looks good, but I was like, this is just like pathetic on these shots.
Well, okay. Well, let me address that. He is, but it's by choice. How like the first like 2.5 minutes of this fight, he looked awesome. Great single leg, great finish, super great control. And then CLD didn't even get away. He just got back to his feet. Delite's hands are still locked. He's still on the back. No attempts to mat return. Let's go. And then doesn't shoot again for the rest of the fight. Just starts rolling for leg locks. And in my mind, I was like, this is how it felt to me. It was like, because normally Delite is this weird, chaotic, going for crazy stuff. And then sometimes he gets it and sometimes he doesn't. Like when he was losing, but still somehow managed to blow out Phil Hawes' knee. Like that was just the most chaotic fight I've ever seen. And to me, this is how it felt. It was like Delite comes out, great game plan, and is executing it so well. He goes, this isn't weird and awkward and crazy enough. I think I'll just Imanari roll. And that's how the fight felt to me. I was like, what's happening here?
Yeah, I'm like, I just felt like even when he shot his takedowns, he was just pulling for the legs.
Yeah, he wasn't shooting. He was just
he would shoot a single leg and then drop down to his back and roll, like try to initiate like some type of leg scramble. But I'm like, I don't know. I was like, am I just remembering this wrong, or has his wrestling always been this bad? I'm like, it was just, I was shocked. I'm like, he did not have a single shot in there. He wasn't able to initiate to get it to where he wanted to be at all. And I was like, I don't know. It was hard to watch, honestly.
No, I agree. And hey, listen, I don't want to take anything away from CLD because that dude's a problem. He looked really, really good on the feet. He's big. He's powerful. He fought smart. Dealt with the time he did have to deal with Delite on his back, like, and on top, like he did very well. Stayed safe, got back to his feet. Dude's a problem. But yeah, no, Delite looked horrendous. I agree.
Yeah, it was bad.
I used to be such a big Delite fan too. And I think I slowly was like, what's happening here?
Well, no, I've always been a huge fan of his jiu-jitsu. I feel like he's always looked really good on the ground. And that's why I was almost like shocked watching it last night. I'm like, am I just like not, because I just know he has good jiu-jitsu. I'm like, how does he get it there all the time? No, I'm like confused watching the fight last night. I'm like, how does he have so many wins on the ground if this is what his wrestling looks like?
Well, like Phil Hawes was out wrestling him. Like Phil Hawes was like wrestle him. Like, and like, he blew out his knee.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say he pulled for a leg on Phil though, didn't he? I think he was going for a heel hook.
Yeah, you might be right. He might, like, that's how he gets there. And then he just sometimes gets it, but it's like, it's not a good game plan.
No, not at all.
Especially as he's going up in the division. It's just, he's just got so few tools, it feels like, you know?
Okay, and then another one that I think this is the last one on the main card we haven't talked about yet is the first fight, Curtis Campbell versus Danny Silva. I'm like, I feel like the UFC was wanting big things for Curtis Campbell, and he was looking good in the first round, but then I'm like, defensively, obviously has a lot of holes in the striking department still.
Yeah, that may be the case. Man, he's so young. And I was really impressed with him. Like, I see what you're saying. Like, yeah, but I also don't want to discredit Danny Silva's boxing because I thought it was really, really clean. But man, the scrambles in that fight were so freaking high level. Like Curtis Campbell was doing all the right things in the grappling, and Danny Silva had the answers to all the questions on the test, like the switches he was hitting, the way, like just the decisions Danny Silva was making on the ground. I was so impressed with both guys. I thought they're both decently young. I think Danny Silva's only 29. Curtis Campbell's what, like 23 years old?
23. Yeah, just like.
And so like, the level of that fight, at least on the ground, I was really, really impressed with.
No, on the ground, like I said, even in the first round, Campbell's exchanges on the ground, like his wrestling exchanges were definitely impressive. And the way that no matter what, when Silva's moving on bottom, Campbell was always trying to stay on top. So he was trying to yeah, just kind of floating with him, which I don't, it's one of my favorite things to watch, obviously. And I didn't realize he was that young either, so that is definitely impressive. But that right hand that Silva landed at the end was just clean,
Yeah.
absolutely clean over the top. And then obviously he was able to finish with like a barrage of punches, but the punch that started it was just a clean right hand over the top.
No, and this like I think people like looked at Danny Silva's record and maybe were like, oh, he's like I think he was 1-2 in the UFC, maybe.
Yeah.
And now he's 2-2. Dude, it's weird because I remember he has like a split decision win over somebody. I can't remember who that I'm like not crazy impressed with. But then he went 3 rounds with Kevin Jejos.
He has a split decision win over Josh Kulabau and a split decision win over Lucas Almeida, and then
Is the one I'm like,
and then lost to Vallejos.
Yeah, but a decision loss to the guy
Yeah.
that knocks everybody out, and so it's like I think it'll age well. You know, I really do think he's better than a lot of people thought he was. And yeah, going into enemy territory, like it was a very Mexican fighter thing to do with him. You know, go into London and knock out the hot new prospect. And we didn't talk about the co-main event yet. Another hot London prospect is Luke Riley. I was impressed with him. I'm not sure I'm like sold that he's the next big thing better than sliced bread. We'll have to see. I did think his striking looked really clean. But I also felt like Aswell did not fight his best. It's not the best version of Michael Aswell that we've seen. And it was it was still a competitive fight. It wasn't like a toss up, obviously. Like Luke Riley clearly won all 3 rounds, in my opinion. But I guess I honestly, I give him a lot of credit because I think he like recognized it in his own head too. Like he didn't seem very happy with his performance, which as a second UFC fight, it was a great performance. But I think he expects a lot more from himself, which is admirable, you know? And I think he probably realizes he has a ways to go, but I think he'll do really well. I really do.
Yeah, like I said, with this one, I just felt like and maybe it's because I expected more out of a main event spot, where I'm like, I just felt like it just seemed very low level to me, where I'm like, I don't, it was an entertaining fight, but I don't know, I just didn't see from both sides the highest fight IQ in that fight.
Well, and I guess I didn't see any like glimpses. Like I think that Curtis Campbell kid, I think he has some really special things. I'm not sold that Riley has like anything super, super special yet. Does that make sense?
No, and that's what I guess it almost seemed like a main event of a regional level show where I'm like, they're both there to fight. It was an exciting fight. It just wasn't that, like you said, it didn't have that anything special to it. It was just kind of like, I don't, very back and forth, nothing very decisive. I'm like, I don't know. It wasn't a UFC co-main event.
I agree. And they just didn't have anybody to put in that spot. Like there's not another fight on the card that I'm like, oh, well, they probably could have put Delidze and CLD in that spot. Then maybe that was the move they should have done and maybe made Luke Riley their like feature fight. Because I don't know if you saw the crowd, but like he's clearly a huge star there. Like they love him. So it makes sense to have him higher on the card than he would be on a Vegas card or any other card for the UFC. But yeah, maybe it would have made sense to stick that a little bit higher. This is an interesting question from Jake Nichols, the UK guy. He said, are UK fighters too one-dimensional? Aspinall seems like the only one who can do a bit more. This is a good point. And it's interesting. It's not like all the UK guys are grapplers or all the UK guys are strikers, but it does kind of seem like, I guess with Luke Riley, for example, we haven't really seen him tested in the grappling. Aswell shot a little bit, but it wasn't like, he wasn't taking like a ton of shots. And I don't think he was taking the best shots as well. He's well-rounded, but he's definitely more of a striker. I would be interested to see him, how he does Unfortunately, at featherweight, I just don't think there's that many. He's not going to hit the grapplers until he's like well into the rankings, right? Like it's just not as grappling heavy of a division.
I feel like typically speaking, UK fighters, they're the strikers. I feel like I'm typically shocked. Like, what was his name? The first fight on like
Curtis
Campbell.
Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell. I'm typically shocked when you see a guy come from the UK and you're like, oh, he has really good wrestling, really good jujitsu. I'm like, typically they're more, I feel like, striking based. But that being said, I'm like, there's guys who are coming up who are now well rounded, like Campbell, where I'm like, it's obviously becoming more blended of a sport now, where I'm like, I feel like there was, especially you look like 10 years ago, I'm like, it is predominantly strikers coming out of the UK, where I feel like MMA as a sport is spreading more, and you're seeing guys who are good grapplers coming out of the UK and more well-rounded fighters.
Well, and then it's interesting. I think Patty is kind of the flip side of that coin, where I think his striking is quite basic, but his grappling is like his jujitsu is very good. You know.
No, that's what I mean. Like, I feel like there is the guys coming up now.
Yeah.
There is the guys that we do see that have like Patty. I feel like he's pretty well rounded at where he's at. Where I'm like he's
True.
tough on the feet and aggressive on the feet and hard to deal with, but then obviously slick on the ground too. So I'm like, I feel like you are seeing a lot of the well-rounded UK fighters where I'm like I said, I feel like you look like 10 years ago in the UFC, we're looking at a lot of strikers.
Yeah, no, that's true. MVP fight of the night for Jake Nichols. I saw that comment. No,
Yeah.
and if you look at, I mean, yeah, if you look at the card, because there were a ton of so many featherweights, so many UK featherweights, and I guess lightweights too. Mason Jones is a pretty well-rounded guy. Definitely more of a striker, but like we've seen him wrestle, and he does it well. I guess we haven't seen him wrestle against another high-level wrestler. We've seen him wrestle like Jeremy Stevens. But Nathaniel Wood is decent. He's decently well-rounded, but he's also primarily a striker. We don't see him wrestle offensively all that much. I guess that you're right. And I think the Shamrock guy that lost, there was a really perfect comment earlier from Duke that I'm going to pull up here in a second. He's, I think, primarily a striker too, but to be honest, I don't think his striking looked that great.
I feel like he looked like the better striker in that fight. He just wasn't doing anything. He
Not
just wasn't
enough.
Yeah, and he wasn't letting anything go. He looked like a cleaner striker, but he was just kind of standing in front of his opponent and moving a lot. He wasn't doing enough, but when he did stuff, it looked good. But I'm like, it was just, I feel like it's almost like that paralysis by analysis, where he looks like he's just thinking too much and just not doing enough in front of his opponent.
Like he's looking for these perfect moments instead of like, and I mean, I'm going to butcher his name. Al-Sawadi, like, just made it dirty. Like, he was coming forward. And, like, he definitely didn't look as clean. But this comment is hilarious because while we were watching this fight, I was like, Al-Sawadi looks like Arab Rafa Garcia. And Duke said Al-Sawadi versus Rafa Garcia. Rafa Garcia makes sense. Honestly, that would be kind of a fun fight, honestly. They have similar styles. I actually think Garcia is a little bit better of a striker. And they look alike, so that's funny.
No, I made a comment about that because I was like, this dude, he almost looks Mexican and fights Mexican.
What I said. I think this is the least Palestinian looking Palestinian I've ever seen.
No, and just the way he fought too, just coming forward with those big hooks, staying in his face the whole time. I was like, wait, what race is this dude?
No, that's hilarious that you said that, Duke. Take comment of the day. Duke says MVP always fights like that. He's a counter striker. Even when he rocks you, he doesn't go for the finish. No, I agree. Like, this is what I expect from MVP, and I just don't. I'm never disappointed because I expect nothing from MVP. I actually really like him as a person. I think he's a character. I think he's funny. I think he speaks well. Love him as a guy. Hate watching him fight. Just hate it. Absolutely hate it. But which is a bummer because I think he's a super cool, funny guy.
No, and I'm like, he does have obviously. He has some moments, but I feel like the moments aren't enough to carry a fight ever.
Not anymore. Because his moments used to result in finishes.
Mm-hmm.
But like his last, like I think he like hurt a guy with like a leg kick early in a fight in like 2020 maybe, but like his last real knockout, like starching somebody, was not since 2019.
Hey, this comment, I'm like, I thought the same thing whenever it happened.
I don't know.
Because I'm like, MVP's made some comments about fighter pay recently. So whenever he walked out to that song, I was like, I wonder if this is a shot. Like trying to be like, I don't
It's
know.
not the right call because he's definitely making more than he should be putting on performances like that.
Him and Sean O'Malley both were talking on podcasts about I don't remember his name, and this kind of proves their point of some boxer that got paid 15 million and compared to what UFC fighters are getting paid at somebody under Zuffa boxing is now getting paid 15 million and I can't tell you his name even because what excuse me?
Was it Connor Ben?
Uh, yeah, I believe so.
The reason why that's such a big deal is not just because it's a boxer, it's because it's a mid-level boxer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't even know his name.
Not even good boxer.
Yeah. Don't even know his name, and the dude's getting paid 15 million. So I understand their point, but I'm like, when I heard that MVP was walking, because he was like singing the words walking out, and I was like, I wonder if this is like he's trying to take a shot at the UFC.
It might be. I don't know. I don't know if that's the right call, man. Like the UFC contracts definitely protect the UFC more than the fighters. So just be careful, my guy. Be
Yeah,
careful.
I'm gonna sit over here and just keep on smiling, and not say anything.
It's like I get paid enough, guys. I'm good. No complaints.
Like Gordo gets all his treats for good.
Dude, I don't know. It's obviously I'm not in the UFC, but I definitely am affected by the paychecks. And like, I don't know, we have nothing to complain about. The only thing we have to complain about is Grant would like to fight more often. But as for pay, I think he's paid very fairly. We live a very nice, comfortable life in South Florida, which is not a cheap place to live. So I am very thankful for the money he makes at this point in time. 2 points for Jake Nichols says 2 points. Did Movsar really win 49-46? And did Movsar strike for so long to prove he wasn't just a boring grappler? I think he could have finished it very quickly grappling. So just to address the end of your comment, I don't know that he would have finished Lerone on the ground. Maybe TKO. I feel like Lerone did a really good job creating the scrambles, and he's such a like athletic guy. Those guys, like those athletic dudes with the long legs that create frames well, they're hard to keep down. But I do think Movsar could have done a better job like recycling him. So like maybe he could have wore him down more if he'd started that earlier and then finished him 4 and 5. But I think it probably more likely just would have been that fight for 5 rounds personally. So and if you want to rewind to the beginning of the show, Gillian and I did address this, and she said she thought it was more ego and trying to prove that he could strike and be more exciting. And I think that's probably the case. As for the beginning of your comment, sorry, there's like 3 questions in here. I think it could have been the 49-46, which technically it was 48-46. But I also think it could have been scored the draw. The 47-47, I think, was also an appropriate scorecard. It was a very close fight. Any additional comments on that, Gillian? Sorry.
I think you covered all the points there.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But fights that we missed. I actually think we talked about almost everything. We didn't really talk about the Contratavicius Tricoli fight.
Wasn't great.
It was okay. Maybe you're looking at it now. I think I was hyping this up in my mind because of I think the Mason Jones fight and the Nathaniel Wood fight and even the Pinto fight. Parachik, I'm with you. I will give this card a B- C+. I will lower my letter grade looking at it now in its entirety.
I was, and like I said, I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt of like, last night watching fights, I was just like, I don't even want to be watching fights right now. I don't want to be in the fight world right now. I'm like, I'm done with fighting right now, except for sparring. I'll spar a little bit this week, but yeah. So I was giving it the benefit of the doubt of like, oh, I don't even feel like doing this. So it's probably just I'm mentally not in it. That's why these fights aren't hitting the same.
Right.
But I also think that it wasn't the best card either.
That's fair. That's fair. What's this weekend? What have we got next?
We have Adesanya Piper.
And I'm gonna be at PFL, so I'm gonna have to watch it later. Oh, I love this guy, Larry Douglas. He was on Contender Series. He didn't fight a tough guy on Contender Series, so I'm interested to see how he'll do. And Julian Erosa is one tough dude. Like he's a beast.
Oh yeah, Julian Erosa is definitely one of those guys who just doesn't go away, and such a vet in the game too. I feel like he's the one, like he's gonna be pulling out like the late finishes.
Yeah, he was Grant's UFC debut.
Good times,
right? A long time ago. He's a super nice guy. Actually, I really like this card.
Honestly, I was gonna say the co-main event. Let's hope it happens with Grasso and Barber. I'm like,
they both pulled out of a few, yeah.
But I honestly I love watching Macy Barber fight. I feel like she's always aggressive. She's always going in for the kill. You can tell she just likes to be in there when she's in there. So I'm like, obviously, I'm like, I have a loss to her, but I'm like, she's someone I'm definitely a fan of.
Yeah.
And then another fight that I'm like is not going more than 30 seconds is Terrence McKinney and Kyle Nelson.
100%. That's a great matchup.
That fight is going to be fast.
This is an interesting one on the. Actually, I'm super pumped to see Chase Hooper fight again. Love Chase Hooper, always a fan. But Ignacio Bahamondes and Tofik Musayev. So Tofik is a guy that came over from Bellator, and his UFC debut he lost quickly by sub to Oralby, and at the time I was like, I don't think this guy can hang. And then Oralby went up to welterweight and is just this freaking animal. And so now I'm not really sure how Tofik fits into the UFC. So this is a tough fight. Bahamondes has been like a staple for a while, like he's lost to some guys, but he's beat some decent guys as well. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Love Navajo Sterling. Love Simone.
Oh, like a little fun fact, me and Bahamondes made our pro debuts on the same card together.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize he'd been in the UFC that long.
No, when I fought Hannah Goldie as my pro debut, before I got in the UFC with Island Fights, wow. It was when I was 20 years old. So like it was a very long. I want to say he was like 17 or 8. Like he was a baby. I remember he was like super young making his pro debut too, though.
Wow. That's crazy. Dude, Island Fights has some teenagers that are just freaking monsters. The last time I went, I think it was an all amateur card, or at least most of the fights were AMI. And they had that kickboxer Spong, his son,
Karen Spong, yeah.
Like his son was 15, 16 years old, was fighting like another kid that like wasn't even old enough to have a freaking driver's license. And they just had the most technical, insanely high level fight. And I was like I'm glad I'm retired. These kids are so good.
No, it's absolutely crazy to see the talent coming up, like next generation.
Kiesa's back.
The last generation.
Yeah, that's yeah. This is like half a really good card and half kind of like a This is solid. Ricky Simone and Adrian Yanez is a good fight. Sure. I like this. I know you weren't that impressed with her last time, but I like this Alexia Kainara girl.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know. I like this matchup for her though.
It's a solid matchup. I don't think Brazil presents enough damage to keep her off of her, and that girl can wrestle.
Yeah, I think this is a good matchup for her.
Yeah, this is a solid. Dang, I'm gonna miss most of it. Be working, and then the next week we have Moicano and Duncan.
No, we have a lot of good fight cards. Actually, 2 of them I will be at physically. I'm excited. I'm gonna be going to UFC Miami and UFC Winnipeg.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, so I will be up there. Well, I will be out there at both of those.
That's like 2 weeks in a row. You're gonna be a busy girl.
I know. I was only planning the UFC Miami, and then they hit me up to be like a guest athlete at UFC Winnipeg.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, so I'm like, now I have to go to both, but I'm excited to go to Canada. It's gonna be awesome.
Did you actually get tickets to UFC Miami finally from the UFC?
Finally.
Let's go. I'm so jealous.
I'm cool enough now.
Let's go. That's awesome. Yeah, that's a killer card too. Ah, so jealous.
No, I'm super excited.
Yeah, that's a really good UFC Miami is actually a solid card. I feel like people were hating on like the co-main and the main event, but like the whole card is good.
It's a solid card for fight fans. It's not it's not a lot of big names.
But like the fights are gonna be good.
That's what I mean. Like for anybody who's an actual fan of fights is gonna be like, oh, these are good fights. But like none of the names are huge star power, huge draws of. I don't know. I can understand why people are frustrated at being a numbered card, but I also like. I don't know. I'm not frustrated, but I can understand why people are looking at it and being like, "Oh, but where's the star power?"
But like, you don't have to pay $90 for it. So like, why do you care so much? Yeah,
because people care about everything that they don't that they're not supposed to.
Right. Duke has a great question. Why does the UFC keep some fighters extra active and others very inactive? Give Grant a fight. No, dude. Do you see Melky Costa already has another fight?
You see Cody Brundage has another fight
and Bruno
this year,
dude, and he's on like a 1,000,000 fight losing streak.
Oh, it's my favorite to see. Like I was just scrolling on Instagram. It said Brundage got a fight. I was like, what? 3rd one this year, dude. I want to say he's 5-8 currently in the UFC. Either 5-8 or 5-9, but a losing record in the UFC has his 3rd fight this year.
If he goes 0-3 in the first half of the year, do they finally cut him or does he keep his job?
It's just amazing how, like, I will never understand how they decide who fights, when they cut people. Because I'm like, right now, Cody Brundage is pushing for Sam Alvey's run, you know? Like, but I'm like, why are these guys allowed to go on 5 fights, 6 fights, 7 fight losing streaks or tied to Avasa's in the same boat where I'm like, other people are getting cut after 2 losses, 1 loss.
Javid Basharat got cut off a win, a dominant win.
Exactly.
He's a nice guy. But Duke says, talking about UFC Miami, do you find Carlos Ulberg attractive? Many women seem to find him attractive.
I feel like we've been asked this before.
Yeah, I think we've answered this. But like, he's a fine looking guy. I guess it's not my type personally, but I guess he's a good looking guy. I do think we've asked this before. Azerbaijan is such a weird place to do UFC fights. Who do you think the main event will be? It's probably, I would assume it's Whitaker and Ankalaev, right? Like, don't they isn't it like a rule that they have to have a Muslim as the main event in Azerbaijan? It's not like a requirement.
As long as it's not a woman, we're good.
Yeah, right. It's definitely not gonna be that. But anyway, yeah, but like, dude, Bruno Silva already has another fight. They re-signed Darius Flowers. Wow.
Got a cool name. Understandable.
Yeah, but like, so does Renat Fakhretdinov is a way cooler name. They cut him. He's freaking good too. I was super bummed. I like Renat. Yeah, and Yanal Hashmouz wasn't half bad either. Yeah, it's so random. It's so random. But actually, I think you're right, John. I'm pretty sure last year was just a joke. I think this was correct. It was Khalil and Jamal Hill were main event of Azerbaijan last year. I do think that's right. Should the UFC? This is a good.
We clicked it at the same time.
You go ahead, Sheen.
Oh, now I clicked the next one. Right. Should the UFC cut the roster and make more fights with good fighters rather than cards like London where their quality is poor? This is what I was like. Honestly, I think there's a huge issue in MMA culture right now of I want an undefeated record. I want to pick and choose my fights. And it's just creating a breed of fighter that right now we don't have anybody who's an up and coming star because we don't have those people who are just fighters, who are down to fight, who are down to take the opportunities and risks, like the Dustin Poiriers and the Charles Oliveira's and the Justin Gaethjes and the Max Holloways. I'm like, these guys are all legends because they just want to fight. They never pick and choose their fight. Where I'm like, right now we have so many people trying to get that perfect record. And I'm like, there's so many just like bum hunting fights. And even the UFC is helping it too, where I'm like, the UFC is giving guys these one-sided fights more. So they're able to like still have that good record where I'm like, it's just such an issue in MMA as a whole right now where the quality is just completely deteriorated because of it.
I don't disagree. And I do think the roster is overpopulated, especially I think that's Grant's biggest problem is the roster is so, overpopulated at lightweight. And let's be honest, if guys are picking and choosing their fights, nobody's picking and choosing to fight Grant. The risk is not worth the reward. So it puts him in a really rough spot. Yeah, I really liked this matchup. I had heard that he was going to get matched with Joel Alvarez next as well, and I was like, the guy that doesn't stop takedowns against the guy with the best takedowns. Let's do it. But it sounds like Alvarez is out. So we hear. I haven't seen anything like official on either the fight happening or that. Just to be clear, I just thought that I saw a rumor and I was like, that sounds great. Do that for Yaroslav. And then I also heard that he was hurt. So yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to do with Yaroslav next. I think they didn't really want him. And then what he did to Magny, they were like, oh, we love you now. So I'm hoping that they do some cool stuff with Yaroslav and he gets his trajectory towards a title shot. But what was I going to address? Oh, the fight that has been announced recently that I am really excited for is Melky Costa and Arnold Allen.
No, exactly. That one's the one that's oh my! I've been a huge Melky Costa fan these last couple months. Then Arnold Allen's obviously been a killer in the division for a long time now. But I love this rise that Costa's on, and he's obviously he's a jiu-jitsu guy. I love to see that.
No, he's and his striking too. Like he's so dangerous everywhere, and he's a massive. I'm very interested to see how he does against Allen, but I think Allen might be too tough a test for him at this point in time. Like, Allen has dropped a few, but he's losing to the absolute best guys in the division. And his fight with John Silva was so competitive. Like, Silva kind of ran away with it towards the end, but that was a really close fight. And dude, Allen has so many tools too. He doesn't have the danger factor that Melky has, which makes it interesting, but Arnold has all of the pieces. He's got great wrestling, super technical on the feet. I think that's going to be a super fun fight. I'm really excited.
Yeah, I don't know. I maybe I'm just biased. I'm leaning Melky with that one.
Hey, it could happen. It definitely could happen. There's like a part of me that is like, this could be the guy. Because like in my mind, it's like Melky hasn't had that fight yet, right? Yeah. But this could very easily be that fight. So it's a very enticing matchup. Arnold Allen fighting twice in 5 months wasn't on my 2026 bingo card. Dude, I feel like he was super inactive, but it was never his fault. It was injuries, fight cancellations. Like, I feel really bad for the guy. I feel like he's gotten kind of this reputation of being inactive, but I think he's back now, which I'm super pumped for. I think he's one of the most underrated guys on the roster. Let's see. Which matchmaker has a harder job? Shelby. he just has so many more guys, right? Like,
Yeah, 100%.
the lightweight division alone has more fighters in it than I'm pretty sure every female division combined. Like, I just think Shelby has so many more. Shelby probably has so many more calls from managers like, bro, why hasn't my guy gotten a fight in 6 months? You know, versus Mick Maynard can just like recycle the same 20 heavyweights against each other. But and Mick works super hard too. I think Shelby just has way more guys. Did we address? We went an hour and 5. I feel like this is a good time for us to stop. You are stopping me. Because I like don't look at the time and then all of a sudden an hour has passed. All right, guys. I think we addressed. Do you have anything else for the people? G, a matchup you're excited for?
Gillian Robertson versus Mackenzie Dern.
That's the one.
That's about it. That's all I'm thinking about right now.
Perfect. Gillian's like, I'm over fights unless it's mine. No, we love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for all the great comments today. We will be back on Tuesday afternoon. I will not be here. I will be flying to Pittsburgh for PFL. So stay tuned for all of that content coming next week. Should be fun. Main event is Johnny and Brian Battle. Johnny Eblen, Brian Battle. So
interesting.
Some good fights on the card. There's some good new PFL talent. So it should be a fun week. Love you guys. Come back Tuesday. And I'm hitting buttons.